Thursday's a new Friday is a phrase that we're all familiar with, but it's now becoming a reality for workers at companies that are adopting a 4-day week. We all love a long weekend or a cheeky day off midweek, but what if that was possible every single week? What would be the impact on workers and how would it affect the bottom line of companies that adopt it? So I'm curious to find out more. For me, there aren't enough days in a 5-day week, and in the marketing and media industry, a 37-hour week is almost unknown. So I'm pretty cynical about the whole thing. I'm going to go to visit Lab Digital, who adopted a 4-day week in the summer of 2018. Lab is a creative digital agency based in central London, and I met Johnny Tooze, one of the founding partners. After a quick tour around the agency, I sat down with Johnny to find out more about changing the agency to work on a 4-day week. So tell me just first of all a little bit about how it works practically. What can people do in your company now that couldn't do before? How does their working week work?
We've implemented a 4-day working week, so rather than the traditional kind of start at 9, end at 5, we're now working Monday to Thursday, and most people have Friday off, which means they get a 3-day weekend, so they can do a lot more with that time.
Why did you introduce it to the company?
We all get that kind of feeling at the end of a bank holiday weekend where you feel like you've been off for weeks, you feel like you've had a holiday, and so the concept was quite simple. It was, why can't we feel like that every day?
I probably know the answer to this, but how did the staff receive it?
You'd be surprised. You'd think that everyone would kind of instantly celebrate and go straight to the pub, but actually some people in the agency have a lifestyle where they get in slightly later and they really enjoy their mornings, taking their kids to school or going to the gym in the morning, and then they come into work and they work a bit later because the 4 days are busier than normal. So the big question in my mind is, what's the impact on the bottom line? Now, it's difficult to say because I think profit is affected by a huge amount of things. It's not just the hours people are working. Actually, our bottom line's gone up as a result of doing this, that and a number of other things. I think one of the key things, though, is that because we are working slightly less hours and those hours are compressed, we've had no real choice but to improve process and to become more efficient. And as a result, actually, the business is a better business. Well, on that note, then, I think we should go and meet some of your team and hear what they think. Yeah. Hi, Theodora. Hello. Are you available for me to ask you some questions?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course. Sure.
I just wanted to ask you about your 4-day week that you're doing now here at Lab. How's it changed your life?
Well, I've always been super passionate about the music industry, and I've always been intrigued about, how it actually works, how it's different from digital. So with my Friday, I slowly went in and started doing marketing for a band that I was super, super passionate about. I just met them.
One extra day has given me time to do something for myself, which I always enjoyed. Like, I like sewing, so I go for sewing classes. And I'm also doing Mrs. India UK pageant for 2019.
I use the time to develop my acting skills. I do one-to-one tutoring.
I am also preparing for a half marathon this year.
Well, that is a lot to fit into one extra day.
Yes, it is, but it's just one extra day for yourself. It's such a great thing.
If you've got a weekend, obviously that's me time, but having that extra day just gives you that little bit more time that you might need.
I just started doing the things that I love, and just slowly but surely it evolved and it snowballed into this amazing 3-day period within the weeks when I can just do whatever I'm super, super passionate about.
It sounds like the team are really using their extra day to enhance their lives. But I wonder, why do we even work a 5-day week? I invited Catherine Bernard from Work in the Future, an expert on how working life is evolving, to visit me at the Drum and provide some insights. Kat, could you give us a bit of a history about how the 5-day week came about and why we all work the way that we work?
What few people realise is that the 5-day working week is actually a really modern construct. If we go back a little bit in history to the first industrial revolution, the factory age had a massive human requirement, people to come and operate machines and so on and so forth. And typically people at that point were working a 6-day week. The 7th day was the day of rest in line with Christianity in this country. Their time was so compressed and they were spending so much of their time in these factory environments. They were getting a bit tipsy on a Sunday night and perhaps not turning up to work as they should have done on a Monday morning. And then over the Atlantic in the United States, there were Jewish workers whose obviously their day of rest is Saturday. They wanted their day of rest recognised as well. And actually I think recorded 1908 is the first time that a factory gave 2 days off, which gave rise obviously to the 5-day week as we know it today. So 111 years, it's not really that much in the context of entire history of humanity, right?
That's great. Thank you.
For those who work differently, there may well be some downsides. For instance, how do you fit all your work into 4 days? And what is it like to work much longer hours on those days?
Do you feel that it impacts on the rest of the week and how that works for you? Does it make the other 4 days harder?
I would say not harder, but I think it was more focused because I plan, prioritize, and exactly know what I need to do in those 4 days. I do recruitment as well, so as a HR, it's quite interesting balance because a lot of people want to talk to you on a Friday. But I think as I tell them we work 4 days a week, it makes a lot of, a big impact on their life saying, wow, that's a unique thing you guys do. I really want to work for labs.
How is the rest of your week then? The 4 days that you are here, is it higher pressure or longer days? How does it work for you?
Yeah, so it's longer days because we still work the same amount of hours. But it's still, it's more intense as well. But in a way it's good because it helps you prioritize really what you actually need to do. So then you focus on the stuff that you actually really, really need to get done within a week. And you don't have as much time to, how you get sidetracked by emails sometimes or Slack messages coming in all the time. So you just keep your focus where it needs to be.
By introducing the 4-day week, Jonny is hoping to improve the well-being of his team. Like many employers now, he is more aware of the impact of mental well-being on company and personal performance. But are employers really making progress? Are they focusing in the right areas? I asked Jeff McDonald from Minds at Work to give me his views.
What sort of trends have you seen in the last few years in the workplace?
I think for years, we have focused on health and safety. Well, guess what? The focus has all been on safety. And I think that there is a trend now which is about the role that workplaces are playing in either diminishing or enhancing people's health. We are not providing in workplaces resources that people can draw on to help them to manage themselves better in these very demanding environments. And we start to do stuff around kind of providing employees with stuff to enhance their physical health. But we've done very little in helping employees think about and provide resources that will enhance their emotional, their mental, and also giving them a sense of purpose and meaning at work, which I think is really, really important.
As Jeff says, there is more to well-being at work than just the working hours. And there are clearly other factors at play at Lab that help it to be a happy ship. So at this stage, I remain unconvinced the 4-day week is the right way to go.
Pitch it to me, Jonny, come on. Convince me I should go back to the drum and introduce this experiment there.
Having a workforce that is super engaged is fundamental to the success of a business. 4-day working week does improve engagement in the business, there's no two ways about it. If you've got higher engagement, you have higher productivity, you get better work from people, you get more discretionary effort, people will love the business more and love being part of it more. That will also increase profitability for the business, and also it will give you a chance to have some time off as leaders. And in your
sold.
I think in my day off, I do a lot of thinking about the business. One of the things that I found, and one of the things that I really hoped to find, was boredom. And I've actually found periods of boredom back in my life because it's so important, because the natural human reaction to boredom is to get creative, and it forces you to be creative as a person. And that is where life really is, right? That's where the essence of life is when you're in a creative space. If you're hectic and busy and, on emails and social media and running around doing this job, that job, you are just absolutely not creative whatsoever. When you're sitting there and you've got a shitload of time to do whatever the hell you want, and you can get inspired, and you can be creative, and you can just do some amazing stuff with your life. And that's what people are doing. Right? And you'll find that in the business, talking to the people. You know, the stuff they're doing is immense and really fun. You know?
There must be someone in there just watching Netflix.
Almost definitely, yeah, good for them.
Whether people decide to take on a new hobby or an immense challenge or simply binge watch TV on their extra day, I imagine it could be hard to change back to a 5-day week. What do the team at Lab think? Do you think it would be difficult for you to move to another job that had a 5-day week again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think so. Yeah. Well, luckily, I really like my job, so I haven't thought about that. But yeah, I think definitely it would be difficult because now I'm so used to having the 4 days that are super intense and then relaxing and working on my own stuff during the weekend and, you know, the 3-day weekend now, actually.
What do you think would happen if it stopped working and you had to go back to 5 days a week?
I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing. I think that everyone is trying to make it work, but if it doesn't and we had to flip, then there'd be solid reasons to allow that to happen.
What about the future then? Do you think that this will be adopted much more widely across our industry, which is well known for people working really, really long hours?
Personally, I think that flexible working is the future, rather than being quite static about office hours. It's going to be more output driven. So as long as you get your task done, I don't care how long it takes. If I was running my own agency, I would be more focused on empowering others to take responsibility for the work that you have to do and your outputs and deliver excellence. As long as you do that, I don't really care how you do it.
Lab have made a major change to their business with their 4-day week innovation. It's apparent that the team are really excited to be part of this experiment. They appreciate the chance to indulge more time in their passions, and it's also clear that their passion for working here at Lab is increasing too. What do you think about the 4-day week? Is it a gimmick, or is it something that could really make a positive difference?
I don't know the answer to that. All right, I think it's great that some people are testing it out, are piloting it. You know, if we're saying the 4-day week is part of our approach to try and enhance the health of people at work, I think it's only just one component of that. I think we have to see health in a far more holistic manner. And so if it's part of a more holistic approach to enhancing people's health, it could be a good thing. But it can't just be a once-off. It can't just be a kind of, oh, we're going to do that and that's going to sort out all the health issues in the workplace. You know, I think the workplace has got to think about what are we doing to enhance people's physical health? What are we doing to enhance people's emotional health, their mental health? And yes, a day off might contribute to some of that, but it's not the solution. Yes, it's a movement in the right direction, but I don't think we should see it as the pill that is now going to enhance the health of people at work. We need to be more holistic in the way in which we approach this.
It's been interesting looking at different ways of organising the working week, and I know the team at the Drum have been wondering whether they might be changing to a 4-day week. I can see the advantages, and I applaud those who are experimenting in this way. However, I'm not sure that it's going to work for every type of company, and particularly for a company like ours that's in the news industry. And also, I'm not sure it's as family friendly as it seems to be. As a working parent, I'm not sure that I would want to sacrifice 4 breakfasts and 4 dinners with my children in order to have a day off when they're at school. There are many ways to get enjoyment and fulfilment out of work. Autonomy, variety, the people you work with, what your company stands for, and of course the ability to make an impact in the world. And none of these can be measured in hours and minutes. Maybe what we need now is to look at a new metric, because after all, what we really need is talent, not time. Until that happens, I'm afraid that Thursday will not be the new Friday at the Drum.